home on leave. Right now I have 30 days before I have to go to Goose Bay. So I'm staying with Jewel because Papa now is living in the apartment and there's no room for me down there. So my cousin Ruthie lived across the street from Carla's house. And we went over to see Ruthie, and Ruthie started feeling sorry for me because I looked like I was lonely and depressed. So she asked if I wanted to go on a date. So I said, yeah, why not? So anyway, the date turns out to be Carla. So we're going to go bowling up on Central Avenue.
Just you and Carla?
Yeah. But her father drives us up there. It must have been maybe over 2 miles to get to the bowling alley. So we went to bowling, and bowling, you know, when we get finished, she wants to call her father. I said, why don't we walk home? I made a good impression, first impression. I make at least 2 miles. We walk home.
Did you hold hands?
I don't know.
What was your first impression of Bill Weber?
Grandpa Weber?
Grandpa Weber.
Very, very kind, gentle, easygoing guy. Nothing like my father.
Did you meet your mother-in-law?
Oh yeah.
This before for this date?
Not before, no. The same night. I had to go to their house to pick her up.
So when you picked her up, did Mildred and William grill you, or how did that work out? What
Well,
happened?
they asked a couple of questions. I mean, they didn't ask me about my bank account, which is a good thing they didn't.
And what was your impression when you first saw Carla?
Almost that this might be another Peggy.
So.
But then I think we went out once or twice after that.
Mm-hmm.
There was this place on Central Avenue. I don't even know the name of it, but they had like a dance band, and of course they had alcohol. And in those days, I liked my alcohol. I've always liked my alcohol.
Oh no. Well, what happened at the dance?
Nothing.
You just made a good impression with your alcohol prowess?
No, with my dancing and my pleasant personality.
So do you think Carla was smitten with you?
Oh, definitely. So anyway, I go off to Labrador. I don't know why you're laughing so much.
It's the confidence that you have in Carla having been smitten with you right away.
Well, all my girlfriends were smitten with me right away, except the one that wanted to become a nun.
I think we can pretty much say with confidence that she probably was just saying that. Did that ever dawn on you?
No. But we'll come back to it. Your mother's going to kill me if I tell you the other part of that story. So anyway, I go off to Labrador, and she sends me newspapers and cookies and all this other nonsense.
Carla.
Carla, yeah.
Did she bake the cookies?
I think so. But I had
Because
to
we all know Carla can't cook, so I'm just wondering if she actually.
I don't know. I assume she did. She might have bought them in the bakery for all I know. But anyway, my roommate was a ham radio operator, and we had a bomb shelter on the site. The reason we had the bomb shelter, I had no idea why they had it there, but they said it was during the Cuban crisis. It was for us to use in case the Cubans came up.
Into Canada.
Into Labrador, yeah. But we used to go up to go into the bomb shelter. They had a ham radio in there, and he'd turn the radio on. He'd make contact with somebody in the New York area. I remember more often in Massachusetts and New York, and ask them to patch a phone call through their radio to call his number, and they'd do it.
So how did that work? Like, who paid for that phone call?
The guy who at the other end. The only thing is that you have to realize in this phone call, anybody who was listening to the band heard the conversation. You know, I never told my father that it was I called her like that, because I never called him. No. But anyway, I come back from Labrador on May 8th, 1964, I guess it is. And then your mother says we're going. Or Carla says she's invited to a wedding out in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She says, do I want to go? So what the hell? I said, what the hell, I'll go to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So we take the bus out to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
How long did that take?
I have no idea. Martz buses. It was a Martz bus. M-A-R-T-Z.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right? Yeah. That was Al I was talking to, in case you wondering. But anyway, on the way back, we're sitting in the back seat. The big, you know, it was a halfway decent bus. But I think that's when I proposed.
In the back of a bus.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I said I think I proposed.
Okay.
But anyway, by June 15th, I'm engaged. And of course, she wants to know when the date's going to be. And I say, I want the date on October 31st. I want it to be Halloween. I said, I can go as a broom and you can go as a witch.
And do you think that was a smart thing to say?
I thought it was funny.
Did Carla?
No. But anyway, we finally decide on, I don't know why, November 28th, which was Saturday after Thanksgiving. There's only one problem with that. I always forget the date. I think it's either the 26th or the 28th. Well, but I'm always prepared for the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And also for the 26th and the 28th. If she doesn't say happy anniversary on the 26th, I know it's the 28th. Because there were two family meetings before the wedding.
Are you sure you want to talk about the family meetings?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first meeting was, since I was only coming home on weekends and I wasn't making any wedding plans, they wanted me to include me in the wedding plans. It was my job to tell them what song I wanted at the reception. So the first song I said came to the top of my head was "The Party's Over." At which point, Mildred says to Willie, go make me a cup of tea. So, and she gives me a look. And Willie goes in to make the cup of tea, and he comes back and she says to me, I don't think that's appropriate. She says, do you have another choice? So I said, how about Happy Days Are Here Again? So she said, yes. So that's the song it turned out to be, Happy Days Are Here Again. But the band apologized for playing it when they played it, saying I'm the one that requested it.
So you marry Carla, and then what happens? Where do you live?
I had no car and I had no money. She had to pay for the marriage license. Or the blood test. I had my blood test done in Dover Air Force Base. And we come up to New York, we have to get a license in Yonkers. They wouldn't accept the Dover blood test. I don't know why I even thought of it, but Fort Totten had an Army base in Bayside. So I said, would you take one from an Army base? He said, as long as it's in New York State, yes. So yeah, so I went over to Fort Totten, went and found the clinic. I went in and I said, I have this blood test. I'm getting married on Saturday. This was like on a Wednesday. They wouldn't accept this in the blood test to get the license. So they got the license done within half an hour when I was back, and coming back and went and got the license. But at the reception, right, you gotta remember now, I have no money. Oh, in the car I was driving threw a rod on the way back. Ended up being parked where my father's apartment was, and it stayed there because it wouldn't move. He ended up getting rid of it, getting it towed away. So anyway, now I'm at the reception, and you know how people give you envelopes at the reception?
Mm-hmm.
I get 2 or 3 of them, I'm running into the men's room and hope they give me cash. So I'd be opening up I'd get the cash, because we were going to the New York hotel down on 8th Avenue in New York, and I didn't have money for it. Oh, the honeymoon, she paid for the honeymoon. That's how good things were. So, we get down to the hotel, right? It's very romantic. First thing is, on the bed go all the envelopes. And we open all the envelopes. We open up, she's writing down all the numbers. And they're all checks. Because I got most of the cash out. So now we're there, we have to get to Delaware. But we end up having enough cash to rent a car. So we go rent a car, and we drive down to Delaware. I had rented an apartment in Delaware, which your mother-in-law loved. I mean, your grandmother loved. We had 2 gay guys living on top of us, a 3-family house. I mean, they were all right, they didn't bother us, but we didn't bother them. But the next Monday, we went down to the local car dealer, and we bought a Studebaker, $7,000. But yeah, it's a Studebaker.
$7,000, isn't that a lot of money for a car?
Maybe it was 2,000. Yeah, that was too much. Maybe it was 1,500. I don't know, but we paid for it with checks. $25, $20, $50 checks. We spent half an hour or longer signing over the checks to the car dealership. And of course, what happened to the Studebaker? Was that the one where the shift broke? I think it had a floor shift. But anyway, that's the car we used, the Studebaker. I was now living off base. I didn't have to live on the base anymore. And the first thing I did back to the base, you know what they do? They do this, most guys who just got married. They sent you on a temporary duty assignment. They sent me to Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska for 30 days.
So Carla was left all by herself in Delaware.
Yeah.
Did she make any friends?
No, she ended up getting a job. She went to work for International Latex.
What'd she do there?
Secretary. So I come back from Nebraska. Then there's another, I'm not even sure when it was, but the Dominican crisis came up.
What's the Dominican crisis?
There was some kind of revolution in the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is they put all the base on alert. They told us to go home, pack a bag. Came back, they handed us an M1 rifle and told us to get on the airplane. We're going to the Dominican Republic. So the plane, and I said, what the hell? I didn't even tell her I was going. I had no idea where I was going anyway. I couldn't have told her. But the plane takes off and we're up in the air for about an hour and it goes to land. We land back at Dover and they tell us all to go home. That was, you know, my two big crises, the Dominican crisis and the Cuban crisis. Both of them I survived.
So you basically saved the free world twice.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you.
Okay.
So anyway, we're now down in Delaware with no money. It's Christmas, right? So we don't have a Christmas tree. So we get Christmas cards. So a Christmas tree becomes a Christmas tree picture on a Christmas card. That was exciting. I didn't get any money until I got out. When I finally got discharged, because I had like 30 days leave coming, so at least I had some money with that. And she had been making money too, so we had a little bit, you know.
Okay.
But anyway, your mother gets pregnant.
Well, that must have made you so happy.
I guess. You know, this is November. I'm getting out in August, and of course they want me to re-enlist. Now this is during the Vietnam War, and the only thing that's happened in Vietnam is guys are getting killed, and they're sending more and more guys over there. So what are you crazy? I'm not going to re-enlist.
So this is 1965.
65, yeah. But she's pregnant, and you know, once I get out of the service, I'm getting out on August 18th. I have no insurance, so what the hell are we going to do? So anyway, I'm getting out. I don't care. I'll get through. So I had worked for First National City Bank before I went into the Air Force. They had to give me a job back, but what I didn't realize, they only had to give it to you back for the same amount of money you were making. I was making $95 a week. And the apartment we rented, and the reason we rented the apartment we did, it was in Flushing. It was a two-room apartment, basement apartment. And Grandma Weber, before we went out to look at the apartment, says, don't rent anything. Now, she was a great barometer for me, because when she said, don't do something, I always did it. It was always seemed to be the right thing to do. But anyway, we rented the apartment.
So you leave Delaware, you move into this apartment in Flushing.
Yes.
You have a job. Where's the bank? Is it in New York? Is it in Manhattan? Is it in Queens?
I don't remember what bank it was. First National City, I keep thinking of it. Maybe it wasn't.
And what was your job at the bank?
Customer service. You'd buy an appliance that didn't work. You'd come in and bring it into me, and I'd have to take all the information down, check the warranty, and tell you it's going to cost you money. It was a horrible job.
And that was at a bank, or do you mean
No, it wasn't. Oh, no, it wasn't. No, the bank job. I went to the bank, and they were going to pay me $95. I said, I can't take that job. So I called them up, They are supposed to report and said, you know, I'm not coming. And I went looking for a job. I ended up going to General Electric.
Okay.
That's the customer service job. That was in Grand Central Terminal. Now, I have to tell you about November 9th, 1960, what? 60?
5.
65?
Mm-hmm.
November 9th was the day of the big blackout. The lights went on the East Coast went out about 5:25. All the subways stopped running. All the traffic lights were out. There were no lights anyplace. And I'm in Grand Central Terminal, and call is due on November 11th, and here it is November 9th, so I just have to get out of here. So the only way to go was to walk. So I started walking. One of the things about the blackout, that if you felt like directing traffic, you could direct traffic in any corner you wanted. You just picked a corner where nobody else was doing it. I stopped on 3rd Avenue and 1st Avenue, and I directed traffic, and I stopped in 2 bars on the way in between. They had candles in there. The bars were open, yeah. But I ended up walking all the way over the 59th Street Bridge, all the way to Flushing, until I got to where the bus was. The bus was running, so I got the bus the rest of the way. And the electricity came on the next morning. So, of course, I went back to work. Now, I didn't know what time I got home, but I think it was about 12 o'clock. Then I think on the 11th, I think it was 9 o'clock in the morning, she says, well, we have to go to the hospital. So off to the hospital we go. Get to the hospital, I go in and I say, thank you very much, I'll see you later. And I go home. And the doctor calls me about 3 or 4 hours later and tells me I can come see the baby.
And was that just the most exciting moments of your life?
I'm supposed to say yes? Well, if it makes you happy, yeah.
What was it like holding your baby for the first time?
Scary. You bring the baby home and you say, what do I do now? Oh, Marie had made this bassinet. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it.
I've
but
seen
she's a lot-
pictures.
She's a lot of work on it, yeah, and that you slept in one half of the one room. Well, we had the one living room and like a half a room that wasn't anything, but the bassinet we had in the living room because we had the pull-out sofa. But now, less than a year later, she makes another announcement. She's pregnant again. But this time wasn't too bad. I had health insurance. This one cost me $25. Now, taking her to the hospital, we were out shopping in Roosevelt Shopping Center, coming back on Northern State Parkway, and she's telling me she's getting labor pains. So we make it all the way back to Flushing, and off to the hospital. That's when the hospital says to me, I can't take the baby upstairs. And I remember handed you to the security guard, and being a little bit sarcastic, I said, here, you watch her. I'll be back down.
And what did the security guard do with the baby?
He watched her. So I came downstairs and picked you up. Then, well, of course, we went home again. Now, to go pick your mother and Jennifer up, we had a neighbor that lived across the driveway from us. She babysat while I got Jennifer. Now, Jennifer wasn't that exciting. I wasn't scared because I was used to it now. Now we just come home and flop them in the bassinet.
Tell me about the landlady yelling at you, or maybe it was Carla, about leaving the baby out in the rain.
I don't remember that. I certainly wouldn't have left the baby out in the rain. Donnie did it.
What about leaving the baby outside of the store to go shopping? Was that you?
No, I never left the baby outside. I might have left him with the security guards at the hospital, but never outside.
So you stay in Flushing for a while, and you've got the 2 babies, and then you move to New Jersey.
Well, why did I move? I got a job. I worked from General Electric. I went to work for Baskin Robbins Ice Cream.
In New York.
Yeah, well, they were located in Maplewood, New Jersey, and Teaneck, New Jersey. I did store training in this. It was a franchise, and I did training in this. People who were going to be managing stores. Then we were looking for a bigger apartment, And of course, I said, I can find an apartment by myself. So I go to Ridgefield Park and I go to this two-family house. I saw it in the paper and I go into this house and it's got 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a little bit of a dining room. The thing that I don't notice, it has a shower, it doesn't have a bathtub. But anyway, it's $160 a month, so I give the lady the deposit and we now have this apartment. So I go home and I tell your mother, we're moving to Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, which we did. She got in, and I couldn't understand why she was all upset. You know why she was upset? There was no bathtubs. She said, how do you give babies a bath and a shower? I don't know.
Well, I can tell you what she did.
Yeah, she used the sink. Anyway, the move after that was another big move. We moved around the corner in Ridgefield Park to a bigger apartment. This had 6 rooms, 2-family house, and it was around the corner. And this one had a tub. Yeah, washing machine and dryer. I don't think we had a washing machine and dryer in the other apartment. Well, while I was at that apartment, then she gets pregnant again. And this time I'm praying, I hope it's a boy this time.
Why'd you want a boy?
2 girls are too much. 2 girls are too expensive.
And what happens?
Well, Patrick came. But he didn't get born in the same hospital as everybody else did. He got born at, I think, Holy Name in Teaneck. He's a Jersey kid. He has a Jersey passport and everything. And he was doing fine until one morning somebody threw him out of his crib and we thought we were going to have to take him back to the hospital.
Well, I think that someone threw him out of his crib because you told that person they couldn't eat until the baby was up. So I think that person, who was only 3 at the time, took that to mean you wake up the baby. Throwing him out of the crib probably seemed like the right thing to do.
I always thought Jennifer did it.
She did.
You're supposed to say Donnie did it.
So you're in Ridgefield Park. How long do you stay there?
I can't remember. Oh, I graduated, I finally got my degree in 1968.
Mm-hmm. From what college?
St. Francis College in Brooklyn. But I had to finish going at night. I took 3 years from the time of 68, it took 3 years to do it. But the government was paying me to go to school, and it also paid me, I think they gave me books. They might even pay the tuition.
And what was your degree?
BBA, business. But for the 3 years I was there, my marks were A's and B's instead of my C's and D's from the prior times. Because all of a sudden you wake up, you know.
Did you show your grades to your father?
I don't remember.
So you were in Ridgefield Park for a couple of years, and then you found a house in Lincoln Park, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Where were you working?
But then I was working in Stearns.
And what were you doing for Stearns?
I was the assistant inventory control manager. Now, Stearns had a store in New York. They had closed the New York operation and moving everything to Jersey. So I put in an application. I got a call for the interview. The problem with the interview was it was the day after Donnie's bachelor party. So I went to this interview with a rather strong hangover. But anyway, they sent me a letter about a week and a half later telling me that I got the job, offered me $10,000 a year. I never saw $10,000 in my life. So I figured I was rich.
Was that a good salary in
Yeah, that was halfway decent, yeah. But anyway, I'm there 2 weeks and they fired the inventory manager. And they don't replace him. So I'm there now about 4 or 5 months. It's inventory time for the January inventory. And they tell me to set it up. So what I did, I found all his notes and instructions and just had them all retyped and put my name on them and sent them out. And that's how I took the inventory. And everything else I learned by trial and error. One of the things I learned, though, was that if you don't know something, you tell somebody, at least somebody you have a little bit of faith in. And I just happened to be telling the right ones because they were the ones that helped me through it, through the first inventory. And from there, you know, I just started making my reputation that way. And I learned the job.
And did you get promoted to the manager spot?
Yeah.
And how long did you work at Stearns?
Till 1981. Then I got transferred to Bonwatella. Stearns was owned by a company called Allied Stores, and Allied Stores bought Bonwatella, and that was a very high fashion type store, not a department store. So I was moved into New York, and I think I was up to 12 or 13,000 by, no, maybe even 15 by then. Because I had got raises in Stearns too. But when I got at Bonwatella, I became the director of inventory control. They like to say director. And they were bought by an Australian company, but they stayed in business. But the Australian company wanted to condense jobs, so my job was being eliminated and combined with the security manager's job. But the assistant controller was leaving. He put in his resignation, so I asked for his job. And they gave me his job, so I ended up as the assistant controller. They gave me responsibility for accounts payable, what they call sales audit, the import department, which was the hard one. I knew nothing about imports, but what you had to do was ask. I had all women working for me in each department, and thank God I had them, because they watched my back all the time. You know, they'd tell me what to do. They were actually the boss. But they made me look like a genius.
Do you still keep in touch with these people?
One of them, yeah. Yeah, she lives in Coldwell.
So tell me about Lincoln Park. What was it like in Lincoln Park?
Lincoln Park was a nice town. It was a nice family town. What I liked about Lincoln Park, it had a lake where you could take the kids swimming in the summertime. We had Jacqueline and Jennifer going to the Catholic school, and Carla wanted me to go to, they had a homeschool association. She wanted to go to a meeting one night. I didn't want to go, but I ended up going. And I was also going to this one meeting, because the guys usually didn't go to these meetings. I ended up about a year later becoming the president of the organization. And then when I was getting into politics, you know, because to me that was politics, there was an opening on the Board of Education, so I applied for that. It was an appointment because somebody had resigned, so I got appointed, and then the following year I had to run in the election, and I won the election. And I said, this is easy. Now, in the next election year, there was the regular, well, there were the primaries, and in the primaries there's a position that you vote for. It's called for the Republican and Democratic County Committee. I went into the voting booth, and there was no name on the one for the Republican County Committee. There's a male and a female, so I wrote my name in. About 2 days later, I get a letter from the town telling me I was elected to the Republican town committee. Right, I had received one vote. So the following year, same thing, I go into the vote, and under the female, there's no name, so I write in Carla's name. And I had a friend of mine who also wrote in her name. She got a letter telling her she won the election. She had 2 votes. So she says, what do we do? I said, I have no idea what we do.
So did you have to go to meetings, or?
I didn't do anything. The thing they told me I was supposed to do is just supposed to be like arrange for the challenges at the polls on election day. You know those people that sit in the background and they shout your name out? You check them all off. And the people that don't show up, you're supposed to go home and call them up and tell them they have to be sure to vote. We didn't even do that.
It looks good on your resume.
I didn't run for re-election. I did run for re-election on the board, and of course I got elected. The second term on the board, they made me the vice president, and they loved me on the board. I knew only one word, and that word was no. If it cost money, it was no. Their budgets used to pass every year, year after year, except this one year I decided I was going to run for the town council, so I said I was going to make a big stink about the budget, because I got seen where they were burying the money, or I figured it out. So this one, I just kept voting no all the way through the budget. The last meeting it got approved, there's 9 people on it, it was 8-1, and it passed. And it was the last meeting I had before the election, so I got up and I said I quit, and I just walked out. And I swear they applauded, but I'm not sure. But that year the budget got defeated. Then I was in the primary for the town council. By this time we had decided we were going to sell Lincoln Park house, and we were going to go look for another house, which we did, and we found a house in Montville, so we moved in June.
of 1983,
Yeah. Well, was it July, I think we moved?
the summer of 83.
Yeah, because I had to notify him that I was removing myself from the election. So now I pissed off all the Republicans in Lincoln Park because Republicans, I would have won the election there. So they had to go scramble and find another candidate. So who knows? But when I got up to Montville, I said, it's nice coming home at night and staying in and not going out to meetings. So I didn't do anything. I just stopped. I did miss kissing the babies, kissing the mothers and shaking the babies' hands though. That was the best part of the campaigns.
And you worked for Baumwood Teller. But
No, I was working for, in Montville I was working for Stearns first.
Stearns and then Baumwood's.
Then Bonwich, yeah.
And then Baumwood's went Chapter 11?
Yeah. Well, the thing about Bonwit Teller that I liked, I was still in Lincoln Park where I was working for Bonwit Teller. The reason that I know that is because I did a lot of traveling. And there was one trip I came home, in Lincoln Park we had a big double door refrigerator. I came home from one trip and I go into the kitchen and it's gone. There's another refrigerator there. So what the hell happened? The mother tells me that Jacqueline and Jennifer decided they were going to help her defrost the freezer. And they used an ice pick. Now, if you don't know, one of the things you don't do is defrost the freezer with an ice pick. There are little tubes with the Freon running through it that go through the freezer section, and they're very thin. And if you hit them, you put a hole in the pipe, and all the Freon comes out. So anyway, we ended up with a new refrigerator when I came home.
There's one thing she never told you about that, and that's that your brother Donald was actually there, and it was Donnie who did it.
I believe that. That was good. I have to make sure he gets a copy of this now.
Well, it's about time the truth came out.
Yeah, it is.
Great freezer incident of 1980. So you're living in Montville,
Yeah.
and you work for Baumwood Teller. Baumwood
Yeah.
Teller,
Baumwood Teller was probably the greatest job. Because I got to travel all over the country, and it was, I stayed at the hotels, ate in best restaurants, had all of my expenses paid.
so you get to go to Beverly Hills, Palm Beach.
Yeah, Beverly Hills, I gotta tell you, Beverly Hills. I had to walk, it was about a mile, the hotel was about a mile from the store, I had to walk. So it was about 8:30 in the morning, and I'm dressed up, I have this brown suit on, brown polka dot tie on, and I'm walking down this road, and coming towards me is this girl, and she keeps staring at me. And she comes up right in front of me, and she says, I have to tell you, you don't wear polka dot ties in California. So I'm all proud of myself, because here I am, I'm in Beverly Hills. I walk up to the store, and I go kick the marker on the store, and I say, Beverly Hills, I'm here. And I go in, I get into the store, I go first to the men's department, take the tie off, and I get another tie.
And what kind of tie did you get? What's a Beverly Hills kind of tie?
Striped, I don't know. I guess I told the guy I need a Beverly Hills tie. So. But Chicago was the best one. Chicago, I spent the most time in.
Why was Chicago the best?
Well, because they knew me at the store. The secretaries used to make all the arrangements. This secretary liked me, so I always got a good room at the Drake Hotel, which is one of the best hotels in Chicago. And the other one she always got me into was called the Mayfair Regent. That was another high-class hotel. That's the one you checked in. They came up they brought you a plate of fruit. They had grapes that were sliced, very thinly sliced. It was nice. And I'd go out and I'd eat like crazy. I'd have things like, I'd have crab legs and steak. Then go home and call your mother and say, what'd you have for dinner? Or I'd tell her what I had. She'd say, well, we had spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah. You think that's funny?
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. The only thing that's wrong with traveling like that, there's nothing to do at night. So I ended up doing a lot of drinking. And most of it was I wasn't really paying for it. I ended up with an ulcer. But I really didn't stop, well, I stopped drinking alcohol. I was drinking scotch most of the time, and then I went back to beer. I like beer. My first car was a Kaiser.
Is that a German car
No, it was an American car.
called the Kaiser?
Yeah, it had a bamboo dashboard.
Okay.
I paid $100 for it.
When was this?
No, who knows? A long time ago. But then I was a big shot. Now I had a car. I got the plates for it. I went to a gas station. So I said to the guy, give me $10 worth. He comes over and he says to me, it's $3. All I remember is my father used to go into gas stations and say he wants $1 worth of gas. I didn't know. He just say, fill it up. So the guy looks at me like I'm nuts anyway. So I pay him the $3. And I'm saying, this is great. But anyway, I didn't want my father to know I had the car, so I never brought it to Syosset. I used to park it near the Jamaica train station and take the train home, and when I took the train in, I'd get in the car and drive to where I was going to.
Why didn't you want your father to know about the Kaiser?
Because he would have been pissed.
Why?
Because he told me he didn't want me to have a car. Who knows why. But anyway, I was working at First National City Bank down near the Brooklyn Army Terminal, and I'm driving home one night, well, not home, back to Jamaica, and the engine falls out. From the engine, the bolts that hold it in just rotted away, and the engine just went boom. And of course the car was dead. So that was the end of the Kaiser. It died. The second car was a Dodge. Now this had hydromatic. It was both manual and automatic. Just kind of strange how you did it. It didn't have the thing with the letters on it. You had to drive was like one position, reverse was another position. But that was a nice car. That one, I drove that all over the place. When I left for the Air Force, I still had it. I left it for Robert to use when he came back. I never saw it again. Then the next car was the Studebaker. From the Studebaker, we traded that one in. There's something wrong with the shift. I think the shift fell off. No, that was another car. I don't know what we got, but we ended up buying an American Rambler. We paid $2,200 for that car. That was brand new. That's when I started with State Farm Insurance, and we're with them ever since. That's why I get such a big discount. Ha ha. That one, when I was working for Baskin Robbins in Maplewood, I was driving home one night, and I'm on Springfield Avenue. I don't know if you know Springfield Avenue around that area. Well, during that time, there was big riots going on in Newark, and it wasn't very far from Newark. Some car smashes the rear end of my car. Now, it's pitch black out, right? I pull over, a cop does come, and he gets a report done. One of the things I had in my favor, the police chief's son worked in the store that I was running. But anyway, I get the car home, and we get it fixed. We traded that. What we traded? Oh, we needed a bigger car. But the next one was what they call an English Ford. It was a 1967 and a half. They made them on the half year. This was one, I think the Queen made it herself. Your mother was driving it. It was a 4-shift. And the shift came off in her hands. She had her mother in the car. I think she had you in the car. And she was coming home over the Frogs Neck Bridge. Had it in second gear. She drove all the way from second gear all the way back up to Yonkers. There was a Ford dealer there. She drove it into the Ford dealer, and the guy says, well, we don't handle this car. You know, you have to take it back to where you got it. So I don't know how we got it back. We bought it in Jersey, so we got it back to Jersey. And we got it fixed, and it happened again. So we said, to hell with this. I always wanted a station wagon, so we traded this car in, and we got no, we didn't get the station wagon. We got a Plymouth Fury. I think the guy gave us $500 for the English Ford. It's probably worth about a negative $500. But the Plymouth was a nice car. That was a big car, you know, 8-cylinder engine. That's the one where I had my second accident. That one, we went up to Lake George, and then on Lake George we went to Lake Placid, and one of the things at Lake Placid we went to a shopping center, and pulling out of the shopping center, I pulled out into the road, and there was a car that's coming in both directions, so I had to back up. I didn't look, so I put it in reverse and I slammed into the car behind me. So anyway, the car was runnable, so we got back home again. But that one we ran into the ground. Then I bought the station wagon. I always wanted a 9-passenger station wagon, you know, with the back seat that faced. That was a nice car. The only thing, I had an oil leak. That's how it died. In Lincoln Park, I was coming down Main Street in Lincoln Park, going back over the Conway Road Bridge, and the oil leak just started smoking. So we got rid of that. I don't know what we got after that.
I think it was a K car.
Oh, the K car?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might have been the K car. No, we didn't get the K car until we moved to, oh no, Grandpa gave us his Buick. Well, Richard gave me a car too, some other car, a Toyota or something or other. I'm not sure, but we had a car. No, the K cars we didn't buy until you and Jennifer were going to school. And we went up to Parsippany, Chrysler Plymouth dealer. And they had a Horizon on sale. It was like $6,000 for the Horizon. Little tiny car.
Mm-hmm.
So your mother needed a car and you needed a car. So I said, okay, we'll buy 2 of them. So we bought 2 of them. Then Jennifer needed a car the next year. So I called the guy up, didn't even see the car, told him, he said, another one there, same price, $6,000. I said, I'll pick it up on Saturday. So we picked it up. And by this time now, Patrick's catching up. Patrick needs a car. So he tells me he has a black K car there, owned by a little old lady, like low mileage. I think it was like $9,000 or $8,000, some ridiculous price. So I said, okay, we'll pick it up. I didn't even see the car. Now, Patrick totaled that car.
How did Patrick total that car?
On Route 21, down near Lyndhurst. It was an icy road. He got smashed in the rear end, pulled on the side, and while he was on the side of the road, he got hit by another car. The insurance company paid me $1,000 more for the car than I paid for it. So the guy we bought all the Plymouths from, that's who you bought your convertible from. And that was a winner.
In the most facetious sense, yes.
Yeah, well, I was being sarcastic. And I don't think then we had Grandpa's Cadillac, Grandpa Weber's Cadillac. He drove it into downtown Bronxville one day and forgot where he parked it. At that point, Carl and the brother decided it was time to take the car away from him. So me and Carl went up there and we stole his car. We drove it back to Jersey, and then they went up and they had him sign the, we were going to use it to go to Myrtle Beach. So we needed the registration. We had to put it in our name. So we went up, we had him sign the title over, and we got the registration changed. And we had that Cadillac up to about, we were here when that finally fell apart. And that was replaced by the Subaru, which was a disaster. The Subaru, the 4-wheel, all-wheel drive, the drive wheels got out of sync, and so the wheel bearings, or the whatever you call them, things that drove the wheels, burnt out. I spent more money in that car repairing it than almost I did to pay for it. But I traded that in on a Ford Taurus, which we had absolutely no problem. The only problem we had with that car is when you went to start it, the ignition wouldn't kick in. Nobody could tell me what was the matter with it. Even the Ford dealership that have it, every time they went to use it, the car started. When I went to use it, the car wouldn't start. So anyway, we traded that in and bought a 2007 Taurus. That's what color it's driving now. That one works fine. The last car we bought was for Ashley, was a Chevy Cobalt. We bought these cars from Enterprise Rent-A-Car. They're all used cars, basic model cars, but the prices were right. And you had the guarantees with them. The guarantee on the Taurus we bought, she lost the catalytic converter during the warranty period, and the Ford dealer in wall, replaced it for nothing. That's all the cars. I'm done buying cars. I'm gonna buy one more car, a Ford Escape,
A hybrid or a regular?
the one that parks itself. So then I can go downtown and parallel park without looking.
Maybe you should get a Mustang.
No, I had a Mustang. That was another car I had. That I bought from a neighbor in Lincoln, in Montville. He had replaced the engine, but I don't know who he had put the engine in, but they screwed it all up and it never ran right. That one I burnt the engine out of. That was a Mustang. That was a shit car.
Went away. I came home for the food that filled my past.